I'm starting to lose my voice. I don't know if I caught the Kung flu or what, but bear with me, I'm doing the best I can. After last week's rally, I mentioned that despite a total victory for the day and what I hope will be a long-term victory, Virginia is of course still in store for some short-term pain as Democrats in the state legislature look at the massive turnout and they just shrug and they carry on, tearing up your Bill of Rights and cramming through their agenda along partisan lines. We all knew this was going to continue. What I didn't expect, though, is such entertainment value in the process. If you have to have your rights violated, at least making it as funny as possible is a nice spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down. I've heard others say that the gun issue mostly breaks down between people who know what they're talking about and people who don't. And I don't want to agree with that statement. I think you can disagree on the issue of gun rights and still have a fully informed opinion, but there's no denying that time and time again, that summary does prove itself generally true. You've heard of ghost guns with 30 caliber clips.
This is a ghost gun. The 30 caliber clip, 30 bullets within half a second.
You've heard of the shoulder thing that goes up.
Weapons with a barrel shroud would be regulated. What's a barrel shroud?
I actually don't know what a barrel shroud is.
Okay, because it's in your
legislation. It's a shoulder thing that goes up.
No.
And now you gotta watch out for those red hot magazines. But don't worry, Virginia lawmakers are looking out for you. Specifically, Mark Levine, no, not Mark Levin, this is Mark Levine, Virginia delegate for the 45th District in suburban DC, taking constituent questions at an event on Saturday, and one audience member asked him, "Hey Mark, since you're the guy who introduced the proposed assault weapons ban in the House, can you define assault weapon for us?"
Question from the audience. Please define assault weapon.
I would say get ready for the flop sweat, but one of the more amazing things about this explanation is how confidently he delivers absolute bullshit, total misinformation and nonsense he's just making up. So points for poise under pressure, at least, I guess. But he starts off saying, hey, I may not know what I'm talking about, but the feds did it before, so it must be a thing.
Largely mirrors the federal assault weapons ban that was very successful in reducing the number of mass murders nationwide from 1994 to 2004. Basically, you can look at the graph of mass murders. They go up and up till 94. When they were banned nationwide, they went down to 2004. And now, unfortunately, they're higher than they've ever been before.
I went to his Twitter profile to try to find the information he's referencing. I didn't see it there, but whatever he's citing, it must be awfully picky with its data selection. He, of course, is right that there was a federal assault weapons ban from 1994 to 2004 that then expired. It only banned new sales. It didn't require surrender of guns that were already legally owned. And while he is right that violent crime generally declined during that time frame, he doesn't tell you that it continued to decline after the ban expired. The murder rate also fell overall after the ban expired. And yes, even the gun murder rate specifically declined after 2004 when the law was no longer in effect. The ban didn't do anything. Its association with reduced gun crime was simple correlation, not causation, since removing the ban didn't cause gun crime to climb back up to pre-ban levels. But hey, don't take my word for it. Take the word of the study commissioned by the Justice Department on the issue. The ban's effect on gun violence was minimal. Even if it exists, it's probably too small to measure. If we're going with, well, the feds said it and we're just following them to define assault weapons, maybe we should include the part where the feds said the assault weapons ban didn't do anything. So strike that explanation, but let's try another one. It's tricky to say exactly what assault weapons are, so let's start by saying what they aren't. They are not hunting or self-defense weapons. Those are way different because reasons.
There's certain weapons that mass shooters prefer to use. They're basically the same kinds of weapons, modified weapons from weapons of war. And what they do is they kill a lot of people fast. So the goal in my legislation was to distinguish hunting weapons, weapons used for self-defense, weapons used for sport shooting, from weapons that are the preferred weapons for mass shooters.
What's the difference between a hunting rifle and a defense rifle and a mass shooting rifle? The user who decides that purpose. Thousands of Americans use the AR platform for hunting. Thousands of Americans use the AR platform for home defense.
Get the out of here!
And the idea that these rifles are the choice of killers is just statistically bunk. The vast majority of gun murders are committed with handguns. The next top choice for killers is knives. But we don't say the difference between a kitchen knife and an assault knife is what kind of grip is on it. We say the difference is the person who decided to use it for a criminal purpose. But hey, maybe soon we will say that, or maybe even more bizarrely, we'll say it depends on how the killer holds the weapon.
In terms of the differences between the guns, the heart of the difference is how you hold the gun. It basically is a semi-automatic, meaning that you can shoot with each finger, not like a bolt action where you have to kick out the cartridges.
Well, I think shooting with each finger would look more like this, but sure, go on.
What the bill does is it distinguishes basically the difference between guns that go like this. These are rifles. You use them to shoot an animal, and you can shoot very precisely with a rifle, an animal. These are the guns that hunters use. They go like this, and you look down the barrel, and you can shoot very precisely. You can have a scope. Those are the kinds of things that hunters like to use. Mass shooters don't like things that go like this, because what that means is someone can hit the rifle butt against their head. Deer don't do this. Elk don't do this. But humans trying to save their lives do this. So the mass shooters use guns that go like this. All right? Pistol grips, things like that. And guns that go like this are wildly inaccurate. That's why hunters don't like them.
Well, if you shoot like that, they're wildly inaccurate. Yes, if the next mass shooter storms into the room looking like this guy, I think everybody's going to be just fine, regardless of what weapon he has. But fine, yes, you can grab your AR by the pistol grip and you can spray rounds inaccurately. I'll grant you those points. But the trouble is, he then flips those points to explain why shotguns and handguns are actually fine.
They're not useful for hunting. They're also not useful for self-defense. The best weapons for self-defense in your home is a shotgun. What's a shotgun? A shotgun's very powerful. You shoot a shotgun, and it shoots some 40 pellets out, and if someone's coming to approach you and they face the end of a shotgun, they're in big trouble. Right? So, for self-defense, people also use pistols. They use concealed handguns.
Spraying projectiles is why ARs are bad and should be banned. Spraying projectiles is also why shotguns are an excellent and perfectly legitimate home defense weapon that shouldn't be banned. Pistol grips also make ARs bad. But the pistol grip on your pistol is part of what makes it an excellent self-defense choice. Okay, so that definition doesn't really work either. Let's try another one. We need to get rid of the high-capacity magazines because banning them would have prevented prior mass shootings.
If you have 30 bullets in your magazine, you can shoot 30 people just as fast as I can move my finger. Most gun owners will tell you they can change that magazine in 1 or 2 seconds. But those 1 or 2 seconds saves lives. Gabby Giffords would be dead today if that killer had not had to change the magazine and some brave woman in her late 50s hit his arm, knocked the magazine out of his hand, saved the other people in Tucson.
Gabby Giffords isn't alive because of a botched magazine change. Gabby Giffords is alive because of the grace of God. Jared Loughner shot her first, and he didn't even need a magazine to do it. All he needed was the one in the chamber that he had. The magazine is entirely irrelevant to that attempted murder, point blank to the head. Loughner, of course, did then turn the gun on others. That is true. And he did try to reload. That is also true. But he simply dropped the magazine. The lady didn't hit it out of his hand. She just clubbed him in the back of the head with a folding chair, and he was subdued by bystanders, one of whom was concealed carrying, but we're not going to talk about that. No magazine ban saved or could have saved Gabby Giffords. Only good people with weapons to defend themselves minimized and neutralized that situation.
Another example recently you may have read about was in Nashville, the Waffle House, when a very brave man was in the bathroom, saw the killer was changing his magazine, came through the door, grabbed that red hot magazine, and saved a bunch of lives.
Red hot magazine. It's pretty weird for the magazine to be red hot, considering they're designed to be grabbed and handled after cycling through the rounds. Also pretty weird for the magazine to be red hot, considering a huge amount of them are made of plastic. But I guess that's just terrible thermal engineering on the part of these gun manufacturers. Either that or this guy has obviously bungled every aspect of his claims once again. First of all, it's not clear that the shooter at the Waffle House was stopped while reloading. That may have been the case. Or he may have just had crappy ammo or a crappy or poorly maintained rifle because it may have jammed, according to the hero who intervened. Second, the guy who stopped the shooter didn't grab the magazine, obviously. He grabbed the barrel, hence the burns on his hand. And third, a magazine ban is irrelevant when the shooter is already banned from gun possession anyway? The shooter was previously hospitalized with mental health issues. He was a prohibited person under federal law, which is why his dad faced charges for illegal delivery of a firearm. But yeah, I'm sure dad would have done the right thing and swapped out that 30-round magazine for a 10-rounder before handing over the gun to his mentally insane, violent son in violation of federal law. Worst of all, this guy finishes 6 minutes of total nonsense about how assault weapons have no legitimate purpose and they're uniquely the choice of killers by pretending to throw you a bone. Oh, hey, we're not going to take your guns, but you still have to register them.
There was an earlier bill put forward by Senator Sasslaw that would have banned and confiscated those weapons. We felt that it went too far to do that. So our bill allows people to keep their weapons, including their AR-15s and the like. They can keep their weapons, but we've asked them to do what people have done with machine guns when they were banned in 1934, to basically get a permit so we know where they are so they aren't used by criminals.
Well, first, if you think that list won't make a very convenient confiscation treasure hunt map in 5 years' time when they decide, actually, that isn't too far anymore, you're kidding yourself. But second, he just acknowledged that thousands of these weapons are in Virginia citizen hands with legitimate, non-criminal purpose and use. If they have no purpose beyond spraying people down by the pistol grip, why would you allow people to keep them? Allowing them to remain acknowledges that their possession is legitimate and the people who possess them now are not a threat. And if there is, therefore, a legitimate purpose for these guns to remain in people's homes, then it's not as simple as what kind of plastic is on the gun, or how many fingers per shot, or how red hot the magazine can glow. It's simply a difference of the person who operates the tool. That's all. So after all this nonsense, we finally arrive at the correct definition accidentally. What is an assault weapon? It is any weapon that a person decides to use for assault. And the list of potential weapons to do that is effectively infinite. So we can either try to ban any possible weapon, which is to say everything, or more realistically, we can try to cultivate a culture and a society where people are less likely to make that sort of sick decision. You tell me which is more practical. But I guess that does create a third option, though. We could just ban decisions too. And actually, that sounds like a Democratic Party platform of the not too distant future. Decision 2040. Just kidding. There actually is no decision. You'll get what we allow you, and you'll like it. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.